Everyone to our regular planning meeting of September. We have full council in attendance tonight. Councillor Link from Ward 1, Councillor Brussetti from Ward 2, Councillor Kleiber from Ward 3, and Councillor Prague from Ward 4. Our CAO, Brent Alnick, is joining us as well, and RM of West St. Paul is Lainey Shaw, our MLO. I will read the resolution to open up the meeting tonight. Be it resolved that the meeting be called to order and that the agenda for the meeting be adopted as circulated. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Link, seconded Councillor Brussetti. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Link.
Again, I'll say that I intend to vote to adopt this agenda, of course, as it appears on the RM website and on AllNet. But my vote doesn't indicate approval of any additions following the meeting, any additions to the agenda following the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. Item 3, addendums to the agenda. We have no addendums to the agenda for this evening. Item 4, opening remarks. I will read our opening remarks. The RM of West St. Paul strives to be a safe and inclusive community that residents are proud to call home, where diversity is embraced, the environment is cared for, and leadership is valued and trusted. The West St. Paul Council is committed to working as a team to provide good governance, safe and reliable infrastructure, recreational facilities, and outdoor spaces that the community can enjoy in a sustainable way that values the environment and is financially prudent. Thank you. We have no public hearings for this evening and no general planning matters. Item 7, we've got confirmation of the minutes. First minutes are for September 9th. I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on September 9th, 2021 be approved. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Prague, seconded Councillor Brussetti. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Sorry, Councillor Kleiber, I didn't see if you voted on that item.
Sorry, my audio cut out and I didn't hear what you were voting on. And now I can't hear you, Mayor Christian.
For the minutes of September 9th.
Okay, yeah, I'm in favor.
Thank you. And that is carried. All right, item 7.2, our committee of the whole meeting of September 14th. Be it resolved that the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of council held on September 14th, 2021 be approved. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Prague, seconded Councillor Link. Any discussion on the minutes for the committee of the whole meeting? Hearing and seeing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. No delegations for this evening. We have bylaws for consideration, second reading of Land Expropriation Bylaw 2021-11. I will read the resolution and we can discuss. Be it resolved that Bylaw 2021-11, being a bylaw of the Real Municipality of West St. Paul to expropriate a portion of land, as has been discussed with the property owners of the land for the purposes of extending Eames Road in order to create a safer intersection with Garden View Drive, be read a second time. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Prague, seconded Councillor Brussetti. Mr. CEO, we have your administrative report attached. Is there any further discussion or anything you're wanting to add?
No.
No? Okay, thank you. Then I will go around the table and see if there are any questions. Councillor Link, any questions?
Yeah, I have some questions. This bylaw has been amended as shown in the minutes for September 9th. So I'm wondering if this bylaw, somehow we need to say in this bylaw as amended. I don't know, I'm asking that question. because it isn't what was seen on September 9th.
Thank you for your question. Mr. CAO or Ms. Shaw? Ms. Shaw through the CAO.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I can address that. Because the copy of the bylaw that you see before you is what you were giving second reading to. There are no amendments to what was presented. The resolution does not need to read as amended.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw.
Thank
Councillor
you.
Link?
I do have another question. I'm looking at the second page of the bylaw. Now therefore be it resolved. And the paragraph that follows, and therefore be it resolved. I'm wondering, there's a reference to number, the plan as number 0851/2020. And is that the land shown on Schedule A, the plan of land to be opened?
Can I direct that question to Ms. Elias through the CAO?
That's correct, Madam Mayor. That is the plan that's included in Schedule A.
As a follow-up then, so it's part of Lot 1, Plan 62221 and Plan 65372 OTM, Lot 1, Parish of St. Paul. I'm wondering if we should have that description in this section. That description was used the first time we saw that bylaw, the legal description. I'm wondering if it should be included with in that paragraph.
Through the CAO, Ms. Shaw, if I can ask you, I know this went back to the lawyer again for revisions, and I will direct Councillor Link's question to you.
Madam Mayor, I can respond to that. The wording included in the bylaw is the wording that was vetted by our lawyer. And my understanding is, as long as the deposit number is included, then it's the wording is clear for land title purposes.
What is the deposit number?
The deposit number would be the 0851/2020.
Okay. Now I've got some other questions to clarify, which I need some clarification, and after the clarification, a couple of other questions. So because the intersection at Eames Road and Garden View Drive has been deemed unsafe by Manitoba Infrastructure due to the angle of the intersection, the location of the intersection needs to be moved. Am I right on that?
Mr. CAO?
Madam Mayor, this is planner's file, so I'll direct the questions to the planner.
Sorry about that. Ms. Elias?
That's correct. The intersection as it is currently constructed, Manitoba Infrastructure MI, they've notified the municipality that they won't provide approval for it as is.
Okay, that's okay. So I'm on there, on the money there. Now, Garden View Drive is a provincial service road. Am I correct on that?
I believe so. And where this intersection is located, it's within the highway control zone. So any structures within that zone, MI requires approval.
Right, the right of way. Currently, the intersection is located on City of Winnipeg property then, and the provincial crown land or right of way. The intersection will be moved onto RM property and Garden View, which is a provincial service road again. A portion of Eames Road itself will have to be relocated and built on the RM of West St. Paul property. Am I right so far?
That's correct.
Okay. Now the question then, the first question, what body will be responsible then to maintain that portion of Eames Road, which will now be owned by the RM as a result of this bylaw being approved?
Yes, thanks for the question, Councillor Link. We do have an agreement in place with the City of Winnipeg that the RM maintains Eames Road. That was an agreement that was required by the city when they approved the extension. So we, the municipality, we maintain the road. The City of Winnipeg, for the portion of the road within their municipality, they still have approval.
So does the municipality then maintain Eames Road from Highway 8 all the way to Garden View Drive?
That's correct, yes.
And that has been the case since the City of Winnipeg gave the approval?
Yes, that was a condition of their approval. And the reasoning behind that was that it would be fair for the RM to maintain it because it mainly benefits municipal property and municipal property owners.
That makes sense. Now,
Mr. Cielo?
Just want to interject here, Councillor Link, that the RM has been providing maintenance up to McPhillips for the Ames Road since before 2010, when the road was moved by West St. Paul. Before 2010, the entrance to the business park, they had moved it along with direction from MI to on Ames Road on city property. So we've always benefited from Ames Road. We benefit dramatically in property taxes from having Ames Road there. And from before I was here, we've always maintained Ames Road.
okay, so
Thank you,
then
Mr.
I
Cielo.
can.
Go ahead, Councillor Link.
Pardon me, I'm sorry.
I was
May I
just
make
saying, go ahead, Councillor Link.
Okay. So no additional cost for maintenance because we've been doing it all along. That's good to know. Now I understand, and this can be confirmed, that the RM is not going to be responsible for any cost to remove the present unsafe intersection or build the portion of Eames Road needed to make this intersection correction. Will the part of RM land that is disturbed by the removal of the intersection and construction of the new portion of Eames Road be reconstructed at cost to the owner as well?
Ms.
That's
Elias?
correct. That's correct. The developer / property owner, they would be responsible for removing a portion of Eames Road, the reconstruction. There'd also be requirements to realign the ditches. They'd have to remove some of the culverts and one hydro pole as well. Where the road currently connects to Garden View, that ditch will have to, like, there's a culvert that would have to be removed. The ditches would have to be restored and seeded or sodded.
Okay, so the entrance to that lot number 1 will be from Eames Road, not from Garden View Drive.
I believe right now for lot one, they have an existing entrance onto Eames Road. And it doesn't appear that that would be disturbed by the realignment.
Okay, that's good. But they wouldn't be entering that lot from Garden View Drive. Other than, well, they'll be entering Eames Road. Okay? Is that right?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Those are all the questions I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councillor Busetti, any questions?
No, thank you. We got them all during committee of a whole.
Thank you. Councillor Kleiber, any questions?
Yes, for Pam Elias. On the second page of the bylaw, second whereas, it states, developers of the subdivision are in agreement to permit the municipality to take a portion of its land with no compensation being payable by the municipality to the developer. And furthermore, the developer has agreed to be fully responsible for all work expenses and costs associated with and involved with the relocation of that portion of Ames Road. So, Ms. Elias, am I correct in saying that we're going to expropriate this property, we're not going to pay them anything for it, and any improvements, they have to foot the bill for it?
I'd like to answer that question.
Mr. CEO, go ahead.
As we discussed at committee of the whole, it's a friendly expropriation. So expropriation is just a term used from land titles. So it's not an expropriation in a way, and this was discussed extensively in a way that is used usually. It's word that's needed at land titles so that they could efficiently change the certificates and maps in land titles. So it's not an expropriation in a way we're taking land away. It's called a friendly expropriation where, well, that would be a term that we would use. Expropriation is used in the legal terms so that we could move through land titles at a more efficient pace to get this done. All parties are in agreement to do this.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Go ahead, Councillor Kleiber.
That wasn't my question. My question was, we are not compensating the developer, and the developer is being responsible for all work expenses and costs. Is that correct?
Mr. CEO.
Yes, that is correct. That's what was discussed at committee of the whole, that there
Well,
would be no cost for the RMOS St. Paul.
Right. Well, I wasn't at committee of the whole. I wasn't able to attend that meeting. So thank you for pointing that out, but I wasn't there. Also, I'm just wondering, what is the benefit to the developer for giving us that land? There's no benefit to him. Is that correct? I mean, he's not getting compensated. He has to take on all the expenses.
So as we discussed previously, and I know you weren't at that meeting, this is the province of Manitoba, for safety reasons, is making the road change, and the developer is responsible for all the changes and all the costs. So there is absolutely no benefit to the developer. There's actually a substantial cost to the developer, but we all want to work to make this right. The developer has a good relationship with the RM of West St. Paul, where they've developed lands, and we've partnered with them to help them make things happen in the business park. They established alternative exits in the business park that benefited the RM and other businesses. And the RM of West St. Paul owns 10 acres of land that we've just assembled, that this is a benefit for us. So to appease MI, who decided that this change should happen after the fact, to make things work and keep goodwill for everyone, the developer is doing this at a large cost well over 100,000, maybe closer to $200,000 in cost to make this happen. So there's no cost to the RM. There's a large cost to the developer, but there's no contribution that the RM has to make to anyone.
Thank you, Mr.
Well, I
Sealer.
would say
Councillor
that-
Kleiber, go ahead.
That concerns me deeply. As it's nice that there's no cost to the RM, certainly, but when a developer is putting up $200,000, there may be an expectation in return, and that concerns me. Thank you.
It may concern you, but the developer is not concerned about it. They want to make sure that they do it right. And this was discussed extensively at committee of the whole, that is recorded if you need to go back and review it.
Was that discussed at committee of the whole, exactly what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
So nobody on council had a problem with the developer shelling out $200,000 without us compensating him in any way?
well, if the developer's not gonna pay, the alternative is the RM would pay.
Well,
So I don't think any councillor or mayor wanted to step forward and offer up for the RM instead of the developer. So no concerns by the developers. So council didn't have concerns. Why would they have concerns that the developer is paying for something? And the developer had no concerns. Developer wants to do the right thing and move forward with projects that they're doing in the business park. This road was built in conjunction with them and what did they needed to do for other properties they had assembled. And after the fact, MI made some changes, and in negotiation with the RM and the developer, that it was agreed they would fix this.
Of course, the developer, Mayor Christian, is assuming a substantial cost of $200,000. That's a lot. And my concern is there's an expectation for that cost. That's my concern. So I hope that doesn't transpire, but it certainly is a concern. Thank you.
I just want to caution us that we're not making comments about expectations and developers expecting special favors. So just to reiterate, the province of Manitoba requested that this road be changed. So this road and its current location was part of a subdivision approved by council. They had a responsibility to extend the road. MI needed to approve that road extension, and they don't like this current road extension. So that's how this transpired. It is in our recorded meeting. Councillor Bassetti, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
No comment. I'm fine.
Mr. CEO, go ahead.
Just want to correct, this was discussed at September 9th planning meeting.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Councillor Pereg, any comments, questions, concerns regarding this bylaw?
No concerns, thank you.
Thank you. Right, I have a mover and a seconder on this. I will call for a recorded vote. Hearing and seeing no further discussion, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. Third reading, I will read the resolution. Be it resolved that bylaw 2021-11, being a bylaw of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul, to expropriate a portion of land as has been discussed with the property owners of the land for the purposes of extending Eames Road in order to create a safer intersection with Garden View Drive, be read a third and final time, signed, sealed, and therefore passed as a bylaw of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul. And further, be it resolved that the mayor and CEO of West St. Paul be authorized to enter into a written agreement between the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul and the developer of S14-2588, stating that there is no compensation and that the RM will not provide compensation for the land, and that the developer of S14-2588 is fully responsible for all work, expenses, and costs associated with and involved with the relocation of that portion of Eames Road to the satisfaction of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul, and that the CAO shall not sign the certificate required to register this plan at the Land Titles Office until the agreement has been fully executed. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Prague, seconded by Councillor Busetti. Any further discussion on the bylaw? Hearing and seeing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Go ahead, Councillor Link.
This is an additional resolution besides accepting the second reading? Or is this, I'm not sure.
This is third reading.
This is third reading. Fine. Agreed.
And that is carried. Right, we have accounts and invoices for payment. Be it resolved that vouchers 42574 to 42661 as listed and totaling $272,918.82 be approved as presented. Can I get a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Prague, seconded Councillor Link. Any discussion on the payments? Councillor Link, go ahead, and then Councillor Kleiber.
I'd just like to thank our CAO for answering the questions that I submitted about the payment registers. I appreciate getting those answers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Link. Councillor Kleiber, go ahead.
Yeah, I saw the questions, but I didn't receive a copy of the answers. Are we all to get a copy of the answers as well when we're CC'd on the original email? Was that not a team agreement?
Everybody got the answers.
I didn't get them. So if you could send them to me, I'd appreciate it.
Seems Councillor Kleiber, we've had some problems with that email, so we might have to work on doing something, because I know there was some other emails that you haven't been receiving that we've been sending. So we can talk about that tomorrow to do some testing on your email on that, because we also had some outside parties that said they were having trouble getting in touch via that email.
Well, you might want to give them the right email address to start. The
Okay.
one on the website is correct, but somebody keeps adding letters in. So I know the mayor has incorrectly emailed me twice, so I've made her aware of that. So I'm surprised it hasn't been handed on to you. I have a question about Prairie Originals Demonstration Garden. What is that? Can somebody tell me what that is about, Mayor Christian?
I could talk to that. I would have to, as agreed, as our team agreement that we could send an email to the CAO before our meetings. Then I could go to check the invoice. So if you want to send me an email tomorrow, Councillor Kleiber, I could address that question.
I have sent emails before and I still haven't received responses. For example, costs on the strategic plan, I still haven't received answers. That was a few months ago. Does no one recall the demonstration garden for $300? Seems to me that wouldn't be too difficult if we have a demonstration
the strategic
garden.
plan, we're talking about this accounts payable register. You're talking about the strategic plan that was more than one check, and it's not on this accounts payable register. But you're directing the question to me about the accounts payable. I wouldn't want to, one of the elected staff who haven't seen the invoice and can't be aware of what it is. They didn't sign the purchase order. They didn't sign the check. So as agreed, if you could send me an email before the meeting, or in this case, after the meeting, I'd be willing to check the invoice and give you the details.
I'll send you one right now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, concerns regarding the payment registry? Hearing and seeing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. Item 11, the payroll monthly statement. Be it resolved that the payroll for the month of September as follows be approved as presented. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Pereg, seconded Councillor Link. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Councillor Link, I'm sorry, Councillor Kleiber, I didn't see your vote.
Is this for the monthly financials? Payroll monthly statement?
Yes, we're on item 11. Be it resolved that the payroll for the month of September as follows, so they're listed.
Okay, thank you. In favor.
Sorry, in favor or opposed, Councillor Kleiber?
In favor.
Thank you. And that is carried. All right. We are now on item, 15.1, and I am going to step out and declare a perceived conflict of interest on this item, and I will hand it over to our Deputy Mayor, Councillor Pereg. Thank you. Let me just sign out.
I was going to ask Lainey to Councillor Prague read out the resolution. She has it right in front of her, and you can ask for a mover and a seconder.
Yeah.
I would prefer that Councillor Pereg do his duty as deputy mayor and read the resolution himself. That is his duty.
I've already prearranged with Lainey to read this out, so I don't necessarily know if that's his duty to read the resolution out. Councillor Prague's duty as the deputy mayor is to chair that portion of the meeting. Reading the resolution out does not necessarily mean that that he's not chairing the meeting. Previous to the first 4 years I was the CAO, I read every resolution out at every meeting, so it's not necessarily Deputy Prague's duty.
The CAO elected officials are supposed to chair the meeting, and so far the mayor has read every resolution. And so as part of our organizational bylaw, that is the function of the chair. I would prefer that we remain to stick to our organizational bylaw. He's the elected official. I would like him to do what he's supposed to do according to our bylaw.
I'm going to ask the MLO if she could.
Are you chairing the meeting, sir? Or is Mr. Prague chairing the meeting?
Are you chairing the meeting?
Point of order.
Kleiber? I'm just answering a question in that we have prearranged that MLO has the resolution in front of her. She would read it out, and Councillor Prague would ask for a mover and a seconder. I don't know why you're so upset about that.
Because we have a problem with chairing meetings here,
So
and we have a code of conduct in that regard. Please let the deputy mayor do his job, which is to read the resolution. It's not difficult to read.
No, it's not, and it's not part of the deputy mayor's job. I'm going to ask the MLO to reflect and comment on your request, as she's our legislative officer, and then we'll move forward from there.
Thank you, Mr. CAO. Our procedural bylaw and our organizational bylaw do not state that any particular individual must read a resolution. Staff often read resolutions, and there is no procedural issue with that. I'm happy to read this resolution, and then I will follow.
Point of order.
And I will follow Councillor Prague's direction to speak to my report.
Councillor.
Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of
Stop
West
muting me.
St. Paul
I'm speaking. Stop muting me.
award the Municipal Recreation Complex Naming Rights RFP to Sonova Credit Union in the amount of $150,000 payable to the RM of West St. Paul in equal installments over a 10-year term, with the first payment to be received in the year 2021. And further, that the mayor and chief administrative officer be authorized to sign and execute the contract.
Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Mr. Bassetti, seconded by Councillor Link. Are there any discussions? Go ahead, Councillor Link.
I have no problem with this, except for this is bringing money into the extra money into the RM. That is a good thing. But there was a 3-year lapse where Sonova got the benefit of having their name on the Sonova Center. Is there going to be any kind of negotiation, or has there been any kind of negotiation to make up for that, the naming rights being on the Sonova Center for 3 years without having had an agreement?
Mr. CEO? You're muted.
I'm going to direct the question to the MLO who's managing this file, and then I could comment after the MLO, and I'm not sure if it was 3 years, but I'll let the MLO comment on that, and then I can comment on it.
Thank you. As my report stated, the Sonova Center was built in 2008. At that time, the municipality partnered with them for naming rights. As was explained in the report, that did expire in 2018. So there will be a 2-year gap between agreements for naming rights at that center. This is not a retroactive agreement. This is for the year 2021 and moving forward for a 10-year period.
I can also comment on that, Councillor Link. At the time that this agreement was ending and starting, we were also beginning to deal with COVID-19. The world was in question, and things were closed and opening. We didn't know what happened. We weren't. Well, everybody was closed. Our staff continued to come in, and lots of places were closed. I felt as the CAO that wasn't the time to be putting a tender out asking businesses for money. We weren't ready to tender, and the world wasn't ready to be worried about business rights when COVID was on. This was a good partnership we've had with the Sonova Center. The Sonova Center is also a partner with us in other areas with supplying uniforms in soccer and hockey. I think that there's a bit of goodwill. It's not the Sonova Center's fault that the naming rights contract ended and that we didn't put out another tender. So that's not on them. But when they did bid, and they were the only group to bid on the naming rights, that they had increased the bid by over 50% over the last time. So I think there was some goodwill in there. So the answer from the CAO's chair, so I wanted to, Eleni, to clarify, it was 2 years. Soon as this is agreed upon, that the RM would in fact like to add an additional revenue of $150,000, that we will be closing the contract, so it would be starting right away. And yeah, so we have some goodwill coming from them in the fact that this contract's $150,000 for 10 years. No other suitors are lining up to help us with revenue at the Sonova Center. And they've been a good partner for us in regards to naming rights and in other venues. When we've had Canada Day, they've stepped up to the plate. They supplied merchandise for Canada Day. they've supplied uniforms, etc. So I believe this is a really good partner for West St. Paul.
Go ahead, Councillor Link.
I have no reservations that Sonova Center is not a good partner. They have been a good partner. The expiry was fall of 2018. COVID was an issue in the fall of 2019, I believe, or 2020. And aren't usually contracts looked at before their expiry date so that things are in line for an easy transfer from contract to contract? I don't understand why there was a lapse. That's my problem, I guess. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Kleiber.
I agree with Councillor Link. There's a 3-year period here where there's no contract. There could have been a contract. COVID didn't start until March of 2020. So that's free advertising for a couple of years. How long was the Deputy Mayor Parag, how long was the contract previous to this?
I think 10 years.
I can answer that, Councillor Mayor Prague.
Go ahead.
We had a 10-year contract with Sonova Center before this. If you know, we had an election in 2018. There's a number of issues why, and it was one of them that we weren't able to move forward and do this. None of them were the Sonova Centers or the Sonova Center, the credit union. None of them was their fault. You know, we could have Sonova Center fine down, I guess. But you know, to go and ask the Sonova Center to compensate us now for something that they didn't do specifically probably wouldn't be the right thing to do. And the Sonova Center is very generous, and I'm going to be quite blunt here. No one else is stepping up to the plate, and they stepped up to the plate and added 50%, $150,000 to our revenue. When they did their first contract for the $100,000, that was given to us front, so the RM would be able to build the recreation center. That was a big donation that really helped out. I wasn't here at the time, but from what I understand from the first council that I worked with, and I distinctly remember Councillor Yackel at the time telling me how hard it was to move the Sonova Center forward. And she praised the donors and some of the bigger donors, and she said that helped them get over the finish line. And every time she's at the Sonova Center, she says she's so glad that with all the opposition that they had opposed to do this, that it turned out to be such a good thing, and that this group was instrumental in helping West St. Paul move forward.
Deputy Parag, could you please ask the MLO when this contract expires?
Ms. Shaw, when does this contract expires?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This contract is for a 10-year term. The first year would be beginning in 2021 for expiration of 2031.
Deputy Mayor, could I get the exact date, please?
Ms. Shaw, could you provide the exact date? Could you provide the exact date? Thank you.
Thank you. We will have that date as the date the signed contract is completed.
When is the contract going to be complete after we approve it? So by the end of September, is that correct, Deputy Mayor?
Ms. Shaw?
Thank you, Deputy Pereg. That is the anticipated timeline, barring any complications or staff shortages due to COVID. But the document is drafted. We just need the final signatures to be placed in.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Basadi?
No questions, thank you.
I have no questions. We had a,
Can I get a recorded vote? Sorry, that's all I
Yes.
wanted to ask, sorry.
I had a seconder in it. So can we go ahead and vote?
Call to the question? All in favor?
All in favor? Sorry. Thank you, Councillor Clark. Thank you. I got a bit stung there. Thank
Did a
you.
great job.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Mr. CEO, can you?
Councillor, I'll go call the
Yeah.
mayor
Thank
back
you.
in.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Pereg, for taking over. I'm sure you did a fantastic job. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 15.2. We have appointments to the Board of Revisions. I will read the resolution and we can discuss. Be it resolved that Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul appoint Glenn Lescue, Terry Neplick, and Lorne Ned Saunders to the 2022 RM of West St. Paul Board of Revisions to be held on Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021. And further, be it resolved that Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul appoint Glenn Lescue to serve as the presiding officer of the Board of Revisions and Chief Administrative Officer Brent Olnick to act as Secretary of the appointed board. And further, be it resolved that they may be remunerated in accordance with bylaw number 2014-14. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Busetti, seconded Councillor Link. Any discussion on the Board of Revision appointments? Go ahead, Councillor Kleiber.
I would like to know if anyone has any personal connection with any of the appointees.
Councillor Link, do you have a personal connection with the appointees? Councillor Busetti? Councillor Prague is shaking his head. I do not. Thank you. Do you, Councillor Kleiber?
No, I do not, but I'm a little bit concerned about one of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments regarding the Board of Revisions? So just to remind council that we put this out as a 3-year contract. And we've already voted to accept the contract that these individuals would be our Board of Revision members for 3 years. And so we, council had agreed that we do not want members of council on Board of Revisions making decisions about taxes regarding residents in our wards. And so they have done an excellent job in their role on Board of Revisions.
They've all applied, Mayor.
They have all applied. That was all advertised, and then it was awarded and came to council.
3 people applied.
3 people applied. Thank you, Mr. CEO, for the reminder. So these are the only 3 people applied. Last year was their first year. This is their second, and next year will be their third. The reason that we are revisiting this when we already approved their contract is because we are required to do so under our bylaw. So Even though we have approved their 3-year contract, we are voting again on the date and that the 3 would be on the Board of Revisions. Councillor Link had her hand up, then Councillor Brussetti. Go ahead, Councillor Link.
Well, you just answered my question because I know we made a resolution every year to appoint the individuals to this board. So I was wondering about this 3-year contract that you were talking about. We've been doing this yearly. I apologize, but I don't recall a 3-year contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Link. Councillor Brussetti, go ahead.
I guess it's more of a comment to this. Councillor Kleiber, there's been some like accusations that you're not comfortable with one of them. I think this is your time to bring it up since you brought it out in a public meeting. This is your time to bring this up. Are you alluding to one of the council members having something with one of these people that we've appointed? Please elaborate.
Well, I'm sure you'd like that, Councillor Bichetti. I asked my question. I got my answer. Thank you.
Well, those are some pretty harsh accusations to put out in a public meeting. So
I said I had a concern. I expressed my concern. I asked if there's any personal connection. Everybody said no. I'm fine with that. You should be
then
fine
you
with it
alluded
too.
to something else after your
I'm
question.
sorry you don't like
could
my
have done that.
questions. Sorry you don't like my questions.
Well, I don't mind your question. I didn't like your comment after the question where you're alluding to somebody that's being in the wrong.
I asked a question if there was any
I understand.
personal
Thank you very
connection.
much for your question.
Well, then we're done, aren't we?
Do we need to move this into camera or are we okay? Okay, thank you. Mr. CO, can I have you just elaborate on the contract that we had on this? Just
Madam Mayor, I'm going to ask the MLO. She would have the date of the contract, but we had advertised for 3 members of the Board of Revision. We were having difficulty getting members for the Board of Revision. I know one was a director of assessment in Selkirk. The other one has an MBA and has worked in numerous municipalities. And the other one is a real estate sells in North Winnipeg and West St. Paul. All 3 are highly qualified to look at the information that's presented to the board. Lainey, I'm just going to ask you for when the contract came out. I think this is the 2nd year, if you could confirm that.
That is correct. The contract was for the years 2021 to 2023.
thank you, Ms. Shaw. I'm just looking on our AllNet and it seems that at the regular meeting of council on October 22nd, 2020, the Board of Revision citizen appointments were made. Be it resolved that they appoint Glenn Lescue, Terry Nepke, and Lawrence Saunders to the 2021. So that we had done this in 2020. And we had an administrative report at that time to council and a vote of council regarding 3 years for the agreement. Councillor Prague, go ahead.
Madam Mayor, I think where the confusion is that we have to, although it's a 3-year contract, we have to do it every year. Am I correct?
Yes, because of our bylaw.
Thank you.
Thank you for the explanation. I much appreciate it.
Any other questions regarding the citizen appointment? I have a mover and a seconder. I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. Sorry, just need a minute here. All right, we are down to item 15.4, the East Interlake Regional Health Authority Advisory Council. And I won't read the resolution until we discuss. The Regional Health Authority Advisory Council letter is attached, their terms of reference, and their request that we appoint
Madam Mayor?
somebody to their advisory board. Yes, Ms. Shaw?
I'm sorry, 15.3, please.
Okay. I'll come back to it then. We're at 15.4. Thank you, Ms. Shaw. So we're needing to, thank you, Mr. CEO, advise someone to the council. Everyone's had a chance to look at the information. Any questions regarding their request? Councillor Link, go ahead.
I read their letter, and the letter is an invitation to continue participating. And the letter also says we look forward to continuing to work with you. Have we had a member appointed to help to develop the strategic plan along with the board of directors? Did the RM participate in the planning process? Did we consult in the strategic planning process? That's my questions.
Thank you, Councillor Link. No, I think they're using a generic letter. We've never participated in this before and we've never been asked. I know some of our member municipalities, our neighboring municipalities have had representatives. The city of Selkirk has had Councillor Cook on that board. We have not participated before. It's nice that they are asking us. Many of our residents now are being transported to Selkirk Hospital via ambulance as well as Seven Oaks. So I think it is great if we have representation and can speak to concerns of our residents. We've had a number of residents concerned about care and where they're ending up at what hospital. So I think it's important that we have somebody on here. Councillor Bassetti.
I think Councillor Craig had his hand up first. I don't.
Oh, go ahead, Councillor Craig. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to show my support in favor of this endeavor here. It's it's very worthwhile. That's my comment.
Agree. Thank you. Councillor Bassetti.
I agree to be part of this, and I think the mayor, you should be sitting on this one. Just it is quarterly, and it's probably all the municipalities in our region doing this. So it's not something that directly affects here, or does directly affect here, but I think it should be the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bassetti. Councillor Kleiber, go ahead.
Well, I'm looking at the terms of reference here, and it's quite extensive. What I'm wondering is, who of us has experience in this area? I certainly don't have experience in the health industry. Do you have experience in the health industry, Mayor Christian, or anybody on this council have experience in the health industry? Because this is very specific. And I'm wondering if, you know, we should be appointing someone from, let's say, the fire department who's a paramedic or somebody that has that kind of experience to go in there and do that kind of thing. It seems to me that somebody who's trained as a paramedic, let's say in the fire department, would possibly have some kind of experience in the healthcare industry and would have knowledge of it. Yes, it's nice for us to represent our community, but I don't think any of us around this table have the experience to properly represent it.
Thank you, Councillor Kleiber. Good points. I would say this was not sent out to our fire department and that there aren't healthcare professionals necessarily on that. In terms of my role on this, if appointed by council, it would be to represent our community as a whole. My experience in healthcare and my instructing courses in health and illness and sociology and the work that I've done with nurses in healthcare and the research projects I participated in wouldn't be the capacity that they would be looking for from me. So yes, I have experience in healthcare industry, but that is not what they would be looking for in sending this to council and having one of us sit on there. It would be to make sure that our community is represented. Councillor Link had her hand up, then I'll come back to you, Councillor Kleiber. Go ahead, Councillor Link.
Well, I'm fine with agreeing with Councillor Bassetti. If anyone should be representing us, I think it ought to be the mayor on this. It's a regional initiative, right? I do think it would be most proper for the mayor to be part of the committee.
Thank you, Councillor Link. Councillor Kleiber, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just trying to say that somebody that is already in the medical community, such as a paramedic, I think would be helpful in this situation. As far as courses, I've taken courses as well and done things in this, but I don't think that qualifies me to do that. However, if it's the will of council to appoint the mayor, I don't have an issue with it.
Thank you, Councillor Kleiber. I didn't say I took the courses. I said I taught them and wrote them. So Sociology of Health and Illness is a course I wrote and taught to nurses. And while working on my PhD, wrote a number of courses to educate nurses. But thank you. Councillor Prague, go ahead.
Madam Mayor, I'm quite unsure. We're sending a representative there to represent our municipality with concerns that we have or may have. Am I correct? You don't have to be an expert. You're going there to represent the municipality with our concerns. What are concerning us? What are the residents, the fear they have? Like ambulance moving patient from West St. Paul, going to Victoria Hospital and things like that. Am I correct? Thank you.
Thanks for that clarification.
Thank you. So Councillor Bassetti has suggested that that I be appointed to this. Councillor Link has confirmed. Councillor Prague is nodding. Councillor Kleiber, you're not sure, but I've got 3 members on council that are suggesting that.
I'll move that.
I will read the resolution.
Mayor Christian, I actually said I had no problem with it.
Be it resolved that Mayor Cheryl Christian be appointed to the IERHA Regional Health Advisory Council.
I'll move it.
Can I get a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Bassetti, seconded Councillor Link. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. And just to clarify, Ms. Shaw, if I'm unable to attend those meetings, our bylaw suggests any committees that were on, our deputy is able to attend in my absence. Is that correct?
That is correct, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. So Councillor Prague as well, you've got a flexible working schedule. If I'm unable to attend, I know you would be a good representation, provide us with good representation out there as well. All right, I will jump back to item 15.3, appointment of signing officers, and I will read the resolution and we can discuss. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West St. Paul appoint the signing authority for the following. 1, General Accountant checks, Mayor Cheryl Christian or Deputy Mayor Stan Pereg and Chief Administrative Officer Brent Alnick or Municipal Legislative Officer Lainey Shaw. 2, Payroll disbursements, any 2 of the following, Mayor Cheryl Christian or Deputy Mayor Stan Pereg and Chief Administrative Officer Brent Alnick or Municipal Legislative Officer Lainey Shaw. 3, contract documents and agreements, Mayor Cheryl Christian or Deputy Mayor Stan Pereg and Chief Administrative Officer Brent Olnick or Municipal Legislative Officer Lainey Shaw or Director of Finance Crystal Shahada. The responsibilities of signing authority for the Chief Administrative Officer, Municipal Legislative Officer, Director of Finance are set out in Schedule B below. For the department head or his or her designate be and hereby authorized for, on, and behalf of the RM of West St. Paul to sign departmental agreements, provided those agreements have already been approved in the budget process. Such agreements would include, but not limited to, facility rentals, service agreements, and equipment maintenance agreements. The entering of such agreements shall be reported to the Chief Administrative Officer through the monthly CAO's report. The department head or his or her designate shall not have the authority to exceed his or her spending authority as outlined in his or her job description. All agreements exceeding said spending authority shall require the approval of council. 5, that the Sonoma Credit Union is the financial institution for the year of 2021. And Schedule B is listed below. with all of the information below. Can I get a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Brussetti, seconded Councillor Prague. Mr. CEO, can I turn this over to you or Ms. Shaw for an explanation of why this is coming to council right now?
We can direct it to MLO, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This resolution is coming before council as our Director of Finance has returned from leave. So we're removing the acting position from our signatories, and that must be done by resolution.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw. So this is the same resolution that we have every time the signing authority is changed in any way?
That is correct.
Thank you. Councillor Link and then Councillor Clyburn. Go ahead, Councillor Link.
I'm reading the section about the department head or his or her designate shall not have the authority to exceed his or her spending authority as outlined in his or her job description. All agreements exceeding said spending authority shall require the approval of council. Okay, I get that, but you know what? I've never seen a job description, so I don't know what their limits are. Has anybody on council got job descriptions for the department heads with the information about their spending authority? I think we should. If we're okaying this, we should certainly have this information.
Ms. Shaw, can I direct that question to you through the CAO?
Certainly, it follows the tendering and procurement policy that council has set.
That's not what it says here. It doesn't refer to the procurement and tendering policy. At any rate, I'd be really interested in seeing the job descriptions.
Would council like me to change the wording to the tendering and procurement policy for clarity?
I think that would be a good idea.
Go ahead, Councillor Link.
At this time, could I request, please, the job descriptions of the managers be sent to all of council?
Councillor Link, I think that falls within the authority, thank you, Mr. CEO, of the CAO.
All right, through the mayor, may I ask the CAO, is it possible, please, to send copies of the job descriptions of the managers to the members of council for their information?
I don't have a problem with that. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but sure, within the next couple of weeks, we could, I don't believe all the council wants the job descriptions. I don't see what the value in that is, but certainly if you want them, I'll send them to you. I'll have them sent to you. It won't be tomorrow morning. Might be the next couple of weeks because we have valued work that we're doing here. So put stuff aside to assemble job descriptions to send you isn't something that's going to be a high priority for us, but we could do it within the next couple of weeks. All the job descriptions are there, Councillor Link. It's not like I'm going to be writing them.
There's nothing to assemble, they're there. Someone just needs to.
Yeah, someone needs to put them together and send them.
Understood,
And
understood.
it's not, don't expect them to tomorrow morning, like this is, will be on, we have other jobs that we're doing, so, but we will get to it probably within the next couple of weeks. Thanks.
That's great, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. CAO. Go ahead, Councillor Clyburn.
To the mayor, I think the clarification that I just wanted was the spending authority. It says the department head shall not have authority to exceed his or her spending authority. So I think the question I'm more concerned about is what are the spending authorities? So I'd just like to know that. And the other thing is, I think the reason that it seems to me, just by quick glance, The reason that we're doing this is because Miss Crystal Shawada is back from her mat leave. That seems to be the change. The only question I have is on the description. It says Crystal Shawada power of attorney, rather than the rest of them don't have that. What is the difference there?
First, let me address, and then maybe the MLO could refer to the power of attorney. Let me address where we all know what the spending limits and are for our officers in the CAO. They're in our bylaws. If you go to the, I know that you're familiar with the procurement and tendering policy. It has the limits there on who's responsible for what. So they are there. Yes, this is just generated because we had a staff member that was off, our chief financial officer, and now she was coming back. The Sonova, our financial institution, says they want a resolution from council. They would just not make even though she was on before, they will not just do that. So that's why we are here tonight doing this. I'll see if Lainey's able to address the power of attorney question. If not, we could look into it for you, Councillor Kleiber.
Thank you. What I can say is this is the resolution format that's been asked from our financial institution. I can't speak directly to why they want that wording, but we can certainly get an answer to council if that's important.
Go ahead, Councillor Kleiber.
Yeah, well, the reason I'm asking is previously having worked at a bank, I don't often see that it's, the deputy mayor or mayor and one of the three. And that's kind of the way that this is worded. And then yet it says that Miss Crystal Shawada is only the power of attorney. So the way that I read it, it says Mayor Christian, Mayor Pereg, and one of the following three officers. But then it lists Crystal as the power of attorney, which designates her as sort of the last resort. If the CAO and the MLO are not available, then she can act as power of attorney. I'd like that confirmed though, because if something were to happen and our finance person was the only person left to sign, then we want to make sure that she has the authority to do so. Otherwise, it's going to hold up accounts and it's going to hold up a situation. As far as the department limits, I don't think they're in tender and procurement. I will have a look, but it'll be something else that I will then add to my email because we don't have the spending limits of Ms. Shaw. I have the CAO spending limits, but this refers specifically to department heads. So that's why I'm asking that question. I wasn't aware that department heads had spending limits. I thought it was only the CAO. So I don't know if there's confusion there. It's just the way that it's worded that is kind of, provoking those questions.
Thank you, Councillor Kleiber. I might be able to provide some clarity on your questions concerning power of attorney. In the resolution and in going in and signing, to have signing authority, it's specific to the different functions. So general account checks, myself or the deputy and the CAO or the MLO would have to sign. So that's just for checks. On payroll, it would be myself, the deputy, the CAO, or the MLO. And same with on contracts, it works the same. In terms of power of attorney, as our chief financial officer, Ms. Shahada can go in and ask for information on any accounts. She oversees all finances. I am not able to do that. Our deputy is not able to do that. Our designations are very specific in terms of account checks, payroll disbursements, and contract documents and agreements that we can sign. As the CFO, she has the authority to look into all accounts, all reserves, and all financial information as our chief financial officer. So there's a distinction in what our roles are, and this clarifies that she is authorized to look into all of that information. And now that she is coming off of mat leave, Carol, who was taking her place while she was away, we don't want to have somebody else on there who has the authority to look into and get access to that. It's paperwork for the financial institution and to make sure who has access to what. And so our chief financial officer has access to all our finances.
Hey, thank you, Mayor. That clarifies it for me.
Any further questions regarding this? Go ahead, Councillor Link.
I think part of the problem is sometimes the titles of our managers change. You just referred to Ms. Shawada as the Chief Financial Officer. On the chart, she's called the Director of Finance. I think we have to try to be consistent with their titles. I think that just kind of throws a bit of a whammy into the situation when we refer to people with different occasions, different titles. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions? Hearing and seeing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. We also have 15.5 here, the Netley Grassmere Willow Creek appointment. And everybody's had an opportunity to look at the email information regarding this appointment and to have somebody represent us on this. Go ahead, Councillor Busetti.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Link for bringing this up, and I figure she should be sitting on it.
Thank you, Councillor Busetti. Councillor Prague, go ahead.
I second the motion. I think Councillor Link does a good job there, and she's on top of everything there. And I think she's the best representative on this council.
Very good. I would agree as well. I think that Councillor Link should represent us as well. Go ahead, Councillor Link.
I'm fine with that, but if anybody wished, I certainly would understand. This is a good group to work with. I do enjoy working with them. I'm not opposed to spending extra time. This does not mean any extra money from the RM to attend the meetings. The East Interlake Watershed District covers the costs of remuneration for time, and that's fine. And I am assured that the meetings, if COVID lets up, there could be in-person meetings, but there will be opportunity to participate in Zoom meetings as well as participate. And personally, I have a problem driving at night now. I really, in the winter, I'm going to prefer the Zoom meetings, even though it also has its problems, but it gets away from the driving. And so I appreciate being nominated, and I thank you.
Councillor Kleiber, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with the other two councillors. I think Councillor Link has done an excellent job being on this committee, so I would agree that if she would like to continue and she's willing to do so, that she be approved, I guess.
Sounds like it's unanimous, Councillor Link. We all think you're doing a great job on this. So I will read the resolution. Be it resolved that Councillor Eleanor Link be appointed to the Netley Grassmere Willow Creek IVMP project. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Prague, seconded Councillor Busetti. Any discussion? I will ask for a recorded vote, and I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. We unanimously agree you should be over there. Thank you. All right, we have a number of in-camera items. I will read the resolution to go in camera. Be it resolved that in accordance with section 152(3) of the Municipal Act, council do now move in camera. Sorry, go ahead, Councillor Prague.
I'll just point out, Councillor Kleiber had her hands up before you started reading.
Councillor Kleiber, go ahead.
Thank you, Councillor Perrin. Or I should say Deputy Mayor Perreg. Gotta get your title right. I just want to assure the public that the legal outstanding lawsuit, Seven Oaks Agricultural Center, that I am involved in that, and that I will be recusing myself and removing myself from in camera when that section comes up. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kleiber, and that will be recorded in the minutes as well. I will get back to reading the resolution. Be it resolved that in accordance with section 152(3) of the Municipal Act, council do now move in camera to discuss legal matters, and be it further resolved that in accordance with section 83(1)(d) of the Municipal Act, any issues that are discussed are kept confidential until discussed at a regular meeting of council. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Perreg, seconded Councillor Link. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. We will go into camera.
Not looking good, eh?
Ken is on the line with Lainey. They're in and they're setting up YouTube. So the problem here is getting to Mary, you're gonna have to go on your phone.
Right, great. Thank you everyone for your patience for waiting while we dealt with some technical issues. A couple of us are on the phone now, but everybody is in attendance and we'll continue with our meeting out of camera. We have two resolutions to read coming out of camera. Our first is item 19.1.1, Council Members Code of Conduct Reports. And I will read that resolution. Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul maintain that all third-party investigation reports arising from the inception of the municipality's council member code of conduct policy in 2018 and bylaw in 2020 remain personal, private, and confidential and not be released, all in accordance with the policy, code, municipal act, and Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Can I get a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Bisetti, seconded Councillor Prague. Any discussion? Councillor Link, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I did. I'm just going to say that I am going to be abstaining because we were presented with 8 pages of legal opinion tonight, and I'm sorry, but I am not going to make a decision when 8 pages of legal opinion are shown to me on a screen and read out, and the expectation being that then I make a decision. Sorry, I want time to consider what that legal opinion says. I wouldn't be doing my duty as a counselor if I made my mind up without fully considering information. So that is why I will be abstaining. Thank you.
Any other comments or discussion? Thank you, Councillor Link. Other members of council, okay, if we proceed reading the resolution and the information was presented was enough. I'm seeing 2 nods. Thank you. Then we will proceed. We have a mover and a seconder. I will ask for a recorded vote. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is,
Abstained.
thank you. And that is carried.
I am abstaining for the reasons stated.
Thank you, Councillor. Our next item is the resolution regarding an outstanding lawsuit against Seven Oaks School Division, Agriculture Center, and the RM.
I recuse myself from this vote.
For what reason, Councillor Kleiber?
I think you know what reason. I stated it before we went in camera. Did you want me to restate it for you again? Is that a yes?
Yes.
I'm involved in this lawsuit.
Conflict of interest.
Okay, conflict of interest. I'm recusing myself from the vote.
Thank you. I will read the resolution. Whereas the applicants Dorothy Kleiber and Tara Lamoureux commenced a notice of application in the Court of Queen's Bench file C1-1701-06991, the application, as against the Seven Oaks School Division and the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul, and made certain allegations therein, the particulars of which are set forth in the application and materials filed in the court file. And whereas the applicants, Dorothy Kleiber and Tara Lamoureux, have reached out to Seven Oaks School Division and the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul, seeking to abandon the application and not pay costs to either the Seven Oaks School Division or the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul. And whereas the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul is entitled to the costs of the application unless the court orders otherwise. And whereas the Rural Municipality has in the past sought and obtained costs as against applicants in similar matters. Be it resolved that the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul authorizes the CAO to instruct legal counsel for the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul to agree to the request of the applicants, Dorothy Kleiber and Tara Lamoureux, that they be permitted to fully and finally, I'm sorry, Ms. Shaw, am I reading the wrong resolution ending?
Option A.
Option A. All right. Be it resolved that the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul authorizes the CAO to instruct legal counsel for the Rural Municipality to agree to the request of the applicants, Dorothy Kleiber and Tara Lamoureux, that they be permitted to fully and finally abandon their notice of application in Court of Queen Bench file C1-1701-06991, with costs being payable by the applicants, Dorothy Kleiber and Tara Lamoureux, to the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul as per the court tariff. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Bersetti, seconded by Councillor Prague. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Link.
Madam Mayor, you read a lot of things at the beginning that were not actually in the resolution, and you corrected yourself. Am I right? Because the resolution that we saw in camera seemed to be just about the final part of what you said. I'm wondering if you could repeat the resolution, please.
I'm reading word for word the resolution that all members of council saw in camera.
Well, then could you please read it one more time?
Okay. Whereas the applicants, Dorothy Kleiber and Tara Lamoureux, commenced a notice of application in the Court of Queen's Bench file C1-1701-06991, the application, as against the Seven Oaks School Division and the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul, and made certain allegations therein, the particulars of which are set forth in the application and materials filed in the court file. And whereas the applicants, Dorothy Kleiber and Tara Lamoureux, have reached out to the Seven Oaks School Division and the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul, seeking to abandon the application and not pay costs to either the Seven Oaks School Division or the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul. And whereas the rural municipality has in the past sought and obtained costs as against applicants in similar matters. Be it resolved that the rural municipality of West St. Paul authorizes the CAO to instruct legal counsel for the rural municipality to agree to the request of the applicants, Dorothy Kleiber and Tara Lamoureux, that they be permitted to fully and finally abandon their notice of application in Court of Queen's Bench, file number C1-17-01-06-991, with costs being payable by the applicants, Dorothy Kleiber and Tara Lamoureux, to the rural municipality of West St. Paul as per court tariff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any further discussion? This was fully discussed in camera. I will request a recorded vote. Hearing and seeing no further discussion, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. If somebody can get Councillor Kleiber back into the meeting, please.
I'm in the meeting.
Right, thank you. I believe we should probably adjourn the meeting due to technical difficulties, and if council is willing, bump item 19.4.1 to our next council meeting or a special meeting of council. Is council agreeable to that, given the technical difficulties? Seeing nods from Councillor Bracetti, nods from Councillor Craig.
Yes.
Yes, all right. Then I will put forth the motion to adjourn the meeting for this evening. Can we have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Craig, seconded Councillor Bracetti. All those in favor? Can't see Councillor Kleiber. In favor of adjourning? In favor, opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties tonight. We will deal with the last item at an upcoming meeting, and have a great night for the rest of your evening, everyone. Thank you.